Time to present our next speaker. Unfortunately, he could not be with us today due to some emergency family situation, but we're super happy that he could join us remotely. So please let me welcome up on stage or remotely, depending on how you see it, Simon Stobjerg from Vestas.
Hello there, beautiful. And nice to see you all, at least the back of your heads. I can't see the front, but it looks nice and looks to be a great day. So, and big thanks to the PDS Vision team for giving me this opportunity. So, I'm Simon, and I'm really excited to be here today. I mean, it's such an interesting theme you got going there, Master Your Digital Thread. So, I'm sure you will have an exciting day and some great hours ahead of you. And I'm sincerely apologizing I couldn't be there with you at stage today. We're expecting our third child here within the next week, and unfortunately some complications have developed over the last weeks, so I need to stay here at home in Denmark. But I hope the digital thread here from Denmark to Sweden will be stable today. The PDS Vision team has done an outstanding job to make this work, so I'm pretty sure we'll have a good time ahead of us. So for the next 40 minutes, the topics is about Vestas, and I would bring on some presentation here. So it's good. So I hope you can see my screen. People seem to be, and we're on. Great. So again, big thanks for the opportunity, and I really look forward to share some insights into our digital thread story, or at least some parts of it. A few words about me. Now that I couldn't be there in front of you, included a slide to speak a bit about who I am and how I come to work with digital thread investors. So I've been with Vestas for soon 14 years. Already in my early days, I got an opportunity to get insights into the difference that digital and digital thread could do for Vestas in propagating information downstreams effectively. That days it was about the engineering change management process, and it really got me hooked into working with product lifecycle management, which have been the context of my career for the past 9 years in Vestas. And it's brought me into many exciting challenges. I've worked establishing a configuration management team, leading implementation of PLM to ERP integration. And the past 4 years, especially the work with digital thread have increasingly come center. And now in the role of business area lead, I am working a lot with digital engineering and product lifecycle. So as you can imagine, lots of topics center to the theme of today. And when not at work and busy with that, I am happily married to Thea up in the right corner, and having these 2 wonderful kids, Selma and Noah. So keeping me busy at home. And of course, we're not busy with the family. I have different sports I love to do. Paddle came in last couple of years, as many others, and enjoying that a lot whenever time is there. So a few words about me. The topic that we're here to do today is very center to what we're working with in the area that I'm heading. We're working with what we call digital engineering, basically providing the capabilities to support engineering excellence and the capabilities to support that we can utilize all of the data and the great information that we generate in engineering downstreams investors. And we organized into 11 digital product teams that spans the way from working with product architectures, the way through working with bill of materials, configuration, documentation, simulation, and on you go. So as you can imagine, lots of topics very close to the topic of today. The content, what I thought would be relevant for today, bringing few insights into our story. Of course, rather than going through all of the details, I would try to spend some time actually giving you an introduction to the Vestas as a general, what is the company, and also some of the context for what have motivated our digital thread journey over the past 10 years. And then in the ending, I would share some few examples of our story. I know much to cover, so I think we'll have a good time. So Vestas, if it's the first time you hear about us, we are the global leader in wind energy, employing 30,000 employees across the globe, and having manufactured and installed over the past 40-something years, 177 gigawatts of turbines across 88 countries. So today we are having around 37,000 or 57,000, sorry, turbines that we keep service and accumulating to an installed capacity of 57 gigawatts. So all of these impressive numbers, I think of those, the most impressive number is the last, right? That we every year help the world avoid emissions of equivalent to 230 million tons of CO2, which is great to think about, and makes me happy every day when I go to job, thinking about what we contribute. But of course, quite some way to go still to get the 38 gigatons that we need to reduce to reach the net zero. But that's the numbers. If we look to the history of Vestas, we are a company actually starting with the roots in Denmark back in the 1970s. The world was about to see the first turbines, and in a small blacksmith shop in the west part of Denmark, a guy got a great idea to start build turbines, and the first turbine saw the world in 1979. And the product has obviously developed a lot since then. You see a picture of the of one of the first turbines on the screen. And 40 years later, 4 years ago, Vestas has marked the 100 gigawatt milestone of installed capacity. So as you can imagine, quite a dramatic and impressive involvement over those years. And today, Vestas is the leading manufacturer of wind power solutions. If we look a bit to what kind of products we offer today, of wind turbines, it's evolved into a broad solution programs, so both focusing on onshore and offshore. And Vestas is supporting wind turbines over the globe, which also require different kind of products to capture the wind most effectively. If we look at it, and I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity actually to get close to a turbine, but on distance, it might be hard to get an impression of the size. So I included this slide to give you some kind of idea about what kind of amazing products we are dealing with. So this turbine on the screen here is the latest variant that we have developed. It's a 15 megawatt machine. It generates power equivalent to 20,000 households. And if some of you drove from Denmark to Sweden today over the bridge of Øresund, if you looked up the big pillars, you can imagine sort of the height of this turbine actually reaching 60 meters higher than the bridge. So the tip height here of 261 meters. So the latest turbine here, the 15 megawatt, you would typically see a hub height, that's the center of where the blades are installed, of 143 meters. So imagining up in that height, you have a house of 200 square meters, probably with a machine room of 600 tons. So I think in offset, it's a quite magnificent piece of engineering that we're working with. Of course, also requiring a lot of digital support. So Vestas is operating today as a global manufacturer with a footprint across globe, and an increasing part of our factories are partner factories to deliver and to scale with the need. If you look at the slide, we are distributed across both North America, South America, Europe, and Asia. So the renewable energy sector, we have some quite unique challenges, and that has also driven our digital thread journey. So that you understand sort of what have motivated our journey, I would give a few insights into what have been our challenge and also what have motivated our digital thread journey. And it is clear that the world is facing quite immense challenges to reduce emissions. So there's common agreement to, if we don't act, the climate change and temperature will just increase and of course bring devastating impacts to the world. So we need to decarbonize the world, and Vestas is uniquely positioned to lead that. We are offering some key capabilities to transform the energy system. And if you look at the donut on the left side of the screen, what you can see today is that wind actually only cover 1.5% of the total energy demand. So you can imagine there's quite a lot of work ahead of us to bring in the full donut. And this energy transformation is basically both driven by securing green power, electricity, but it's also driven by, as you can see, replacing fossil fuels to industry heating and transport with electrical. And of course, also lastly, replacing these non-electrical fossil fuels with green fuels or e-fuels, as we call it. So that's the solution space we offer in, and that's where we are happy to be. If you look at it from a development over the years to come, the energy transition is set for a quite unprecedented ramp up. We are on a quite significant journey to reach the net zero, basically avoiding that our temperature increases continuously drastically. We need to install a significant portion of wind capacity over the next years. Depending on what kind of forecast you apply, it looks to be that the turbine installed capacity need to be tripled over the next period to 2030. And of course, often the reality doesn't turn out exactly as the politician has pledged, but regardless, the ramp up that we're looking into will be significant. And that's also evident if you look to the forecast numbers brought on the slide here. On this slide, you could see in the light blue the onshore forecast developing over the years to 2030, and the more darker blue the offshore forecast, which you can see start to pick up over the coming years. And all of this, it sets requirement for our ability to scale, which is one of the key drivers for why we would need to build digital solutions. Another context-setting factor is that the wind market is highly competitive. We're not the only player. There are quite a few industrial players in this scene. And as you might have heard over the last years, the margins has not been fantastic. Actually, quite a few of the major OEMs have negative results as a consequence of multiple factors, but overall, also giving a very clear signal that it is a maturing industry. We need solutions to cope with the complexity that we are dealing with, and also, of course, to enable that the business that we are in is also financially sustainable over time. And at the same time, what you see on the slide here is also a pretty stellar slide. You could see the number of variants that have been introduced from Vestas over the years, and this is as a result of the push for speed. You could see in the last 10 years, quite a few additional variants has been introduced and enable that we can lower the cost of energy, but also to make sure that we can capture the wind in all of the markets that we are required to, or having a need to be in. And all of this have translated into progressively larger investment risk for Vestas, and of course also lots of complexity to our suppliers and customers. And a result of this is evident if you look to the quality and our ability to keep our lost production factor, which is a key metric for Vestas. What you see in the rightmost corner is a graph which signals our lost production factor development over the last years. As you could see, we had a very good rate from beginning of the 2010s. Over the last years, unfortunately, it's picked up the wrong direction, and as a consequence, our warranty provisions for quality has increased significantly, and the same goes for the other OEMs in the industry. So this is one of the key drivers for digital, that we are able to support engineering, support introduction with new ways of working, so we can actually reduce this situation and introduce products that yields a very high uptime. So summing it up, the industry challenge that we are in is basically a mix of being able to scale efficiently, meeting the global demand. Staying a global player require that we are able to provide differentiated applications. So the use cases and use factors for wind varies across the globe. It's due to wind conditions vary, grid requirements vary. Lots of requirements are very unique to the different markets. And in other words, Vestas is basically there to customize our solutions most effectively to those needs. And that brings in a challenged value chain. So we need to operate that value chain and support that we can have operational excellence through the chain. And for that reason, Vestas has, over the last years, introduced a modular product strategy. We are undergoing that transformation of our product development approach. So in the former approach, you would find that our development was very driven by a set of customer needs, more one project or one use case. And as a consequence, the products were highly optimized to meet, let's say, local requirements. And as a consequence, it took quite a lot of time to introduce new variants. You could see here about 18 to 24 months to launch every new product. But more importantly, also a lot of costs and a lot of new parts, let's say, new solutions that caused, of course, a kind of a domino effect of introducing a lot of changes to the products. You can imagine one change in one part of the product could easily cause ripple effects to other parts and introducing a quite significant degree of engineering changes across the product. So this has added up the cost, and for that reason, Vestas has, over the last years, applied this modular approach. So looking more at the global need, global use cases and use factors for wind, and as part of that, developing our architecture and our module to respond to that most effectively, where the volume across the use cases are. And that allows us to now more effectively customize our solutions to the customer use case through configuration rather than engineering to the order. And this context is important to understand also because it sets requirement for our digital backbone need to evolve. So in the final section here, I would like to give you some insights into our digital thread story, and it consists of multiple elements. So in this short time, we would cover a few, but I think we'll make sure we get a few insights, but also first that we kind of understand what is the terminology and focus we've applied. And I think in the opening you had a definition of digital thread. To sort of expand a bit on that, what have been our focus in the context here. And I think PTC has done a great job. PTC is our partner in this journey, and catching this representation of what a digital thread is, this yin and yang symbol, basically showing that digital is weaved into physical, and what weaves this together is the digital thread, right? That we have the closed loop between the digital world and the physical world, and that the digital helps to transform the physical. So basically how products are engineered, how they're manufactured, how they're serviced. And how it does that, basically, as you can see, is the digital thread supports a single source of truth, and allows that we can have universal access to data. And it does this simply by being weaved into all of the core processes across the business. And important to note here is that when speaking to digital threads, probably the figure is a bit small for you sitting in the back, trying to point here. So basically the digital thread could be in an enterprise set to be consisting of 3 different types of threads. the product digital thread, which is sort of the vertical, what was also there in your introduction today, which has been the focus also in our work so far. But also you would find a vertical enterprise chain connecting to that, which is the order flow digital thread, coming from product orders through production planning, material supply, manufacturing, to our installation. And then, of course, an asset digital thread in the end. And these different digital threads interact, and it's important to understand how they interact to make sure we build our solutions to support the full enterprise. What I've taken focus in you would find in our work is basically the product digital thread. So the thread of data from our models to our design process, through our process design process, through engineering out to manufacturing and service. And that is what is the context of the presentation today, supporting these parts of our business. The Vestas digital thread story has been evolved together with PTC, and very happy to share this great picture that PTC has co-developed with us, basically showing how the story comprises of multiple elements. We started our journey in engineering, working with CAD and PDM, and I could hear that was also good topics for the sessions today. We have later evolved into working also with requirement management, model-based design, working with product architectures, working with how we define our parts, our bill of materials, and of course spanning into also how we work with manufacturing and service. And rather than trying to cover all of these elements in these few minutes, I would try to give you some insights into how we've implemented digital thread in our blades design and manufacturing, and through this I think cover some of the components in our digital thread. So what motivated the blades digital thread, which you see here on the screen, is basically the elements that we've been through in the past sections, right? Modularization, it's been quality, it's been cost and time to market. And our digital thread journey with blades has been motivated by basically four key components: securing that we get the right materials into the blade, securing that we know the master data and our data that is used to describe the materials going into the blade are digitally connected with a thread into the bill of material. And then supporting our blade design process so that we have improved modeling capabilities to enable what we call the model-based digital thread from our CAD models into the BOM. And of course, supporting also that we can utilize these models to do virtual design, do simulation of our design. Furthermore, the third component what we work with is ensuring that the digital thread from the model is extended into the process definition, so allowing that our process descriptions, our process plans are digitally described with a digital thread to our operation, also enabling that we can simulate our processes virtually, doing virtual assembly, virtual factory simulations. And finally, working with our thread of the data into execution, so supporting that we can do sharing of data to our production equipment, sharing data to our digital work instructions and training applications. These four components you would now see unfold in this very detailed slide. But I think now let me apply some blocks to it so you can sort of imagine the different components of our full blade digital thread. So basically from the left, what you see is that we have integrated the base material, so how we define our raw materials going into the blade, into the Granta material database. This is integrated into our parametric modeling tools, which helps to describe, let's say, the blade shape parameters, all of the let's say the basic data that is needed to do the modeling. And this parametric foundation is then connected to our 3D modeling tools, which is used to both describe the blade, but also the blade mold design, which is two, let's say, going together. And this blade design process is then integrated into our PDM environment, which is Windchill. So basically imagining a digital thread from our different models, our engineering model, into the PDM environment to our EBOM. Moreover, also our manufacturing models, so how the different shapes that goes together, the parts that basically describes the process of building the blade, goes into the manufacturing BOMs, manufacturing process plans. The models are furthermore then connected to our simulation models, our final element models, helping to do automated data sharing between these. And of course, these are built in ANSYS. The data that we do in our BOMs, our manufacturing BOMs and process plans, are in the end then built with an interface to our ERP environment with this SAP. And in this way, connecting a full digital thread from the very early days of defining the models through the modeling process to our operation. Moreover, what you see in the operation environment is that we work with, basically what I want to say here is that has basically transformed our development process from a drawing-based process to a model-based design process, which has yielded quite significant results. I'll get to that in a few minutes. If you zoom in on a few of the elements in this digital thread, what we've worked with is basically the digital thread from our CATIA models into our extended engineering structure, our engineering BOMs, which has been further developed and matured to our manufacturing BOMs, which are connected to our ERP environment in SAP. And finally, of course, down to our manufacturing execution environment, which is Apriso. The process plan that we have generated based on the blade design you saw before is used to generate our production work instructions. We call them EPVIs, electronic production work instructions. And this generates basically a full digital thread from the model to the execution. Finally, the blade digital thread is also supported by closed loop. We are embarking into this journey now, and what you see on the picture here in the upper here is the pilot running now in 2 of our factories, connecting digitally to the sensors in the mold, through that capturing real-time process parameters and data from the process, enabling that the shop floor workers can real-time correct the process, but also, of course, sending and sharing data back to the designers who can apply trend analysis and understand what happened in the process and how different blade compares over time. All of this done utilizing Kepware, connecting to the sensors, and ThingWorx, connecting these different data sources and building it into our data insights solutions. So sharing a few in the end here, some kind of learnings on this journey. It's been pretty amazing to see the results of this digital thread for blades. Some of the numbers to share here is our cost of poor quality, which you saw was one of the key figures, and that has been reduced for the first blade in serial production by 90% compared to previous blade types. We've reduced our time to market significantly simply by reducing from previously we did 4 to 8 mock-ups. Now we only need to do 1. And you can imagine the related capex savings from not needing to manufacture these many prototypes. So all in all, some really impressive results from the blade manufacturing alone. So in ending here, I would wrap it up and just share a few insights to the next steps on our journey with digital thread. the models and what you saw in the previous slide, what we focused a lot around is these elements here around configuration management, working with parts and material management, working with basically the digital thread of the parts. Some of the next step, let's say, building blocks in our journey would be working increasingly with the design part of the modeling and simulation. So connecting our simulation environments to the parts and applying what we would call a part-centric approach. Also connecting to requirements, working with requirement management and downstreams, improving our digital thread to documentation. All of this done to support our journey, applying modularization through the value chain. I know it was quite a lot of content to cover in these few minutes, and I'm happy to share that there's lots of more content available to all of you. We've been so lucky to join the PTC Innovator Program, and through that, PTC have helped us develop a lot of content describing our journey. So on this website, you would find more than 30 videos, interviews, and demonstrations of what we've been working with in these different elements. So maybe some of them available in the exhibition center today. And moreover, if you are interested in learning more, you're also very welcome to contact me. I've included my contact details there. Won't be able to join you today for the networking and the sessions tonight, so save the vouchers for me another day. But happily to engage with you. So feel free to contact me if anything could be interested to be discussed. But basically, that was our journey, and I think I would wrap it up here and say thanks a lot for your time. I hope it was okay to follow despite sitting here on remote. And I promised to leave a few minutes for questions, so I think that would be now. I can't hear you though, but I could see you clapping, so thanks a lot for that. I took that as a signal of audio has been through, which is good.
Anyone has any questions for Simon? Take the opportunity. Too early on the day. Okay. Great. We have some. Great.
Hi, my name is Daniel. So my question to you, Simon, is regarding the changes that you've done in Vestas is, of course, not only a technological change, but also a change for the people working. Can you explain how that has been done and how that has been responded in your team?
Yeah, super point. So building these capabilities is definitely a mix of, to your point, both the tools, but moreover also the process and the people building competences. And we have invested, as we've invested in let's say, tools and technology, we've also built up the team working with change management, working with business processes, and lately also now into digital, improving our capabilities to work with UX. So basically the whole discovery process of understanding user experience. And that's some of the components that one need to master and do alongside understanding the digital tool development. I think to your question around how it's been perceived and received, of course, changes are different in terms of how they impact. Some are received very positively because it's a super help, like the case from Blades I showed you. The modeling capabilities has been very greatly appreciated. But also sometimes engineers need to spend some extra time, and it might be more cumbersome to do things because the data need to be orchestrated and catered for downstream purposes. And some of those changes, as an example, into our ECM process, has not come lightly and not been easy. It's been a multi-year journey getting these things established. So I think it depends on, of course, where are the gains and the pains. But overall, the importance of showing what it benefits across the chain is always helpful, right? So it might be the small why for the individual being impacted is not so big, but helping insights into the bigger why of the company, how it will help Vestas has been some of the tools we've used. But super question, and definitely to your point, all of this is a transformation exercise. So really something requiring lots of time investment into also orchestrating the people side of it. Did we have another question, or I hope that answered your question shortly? I saw another hand here.
Hello, Simon. This is Ulf Aro from CBC. It looks quite... Hi, Simon. We have worked together 10 years ago.
Exactly.
It looks quite advanced what you have done on the blades. Have you done similar on other parts of the turbine?
Exactly, and there was a reason for starting with blades, as the blade process is one of these that is, you can imagine, very manual. I didn't have time to show how it's getting done, but actually it's a process that's very manually driven, lots of human intervention with the blade process. And that's why we've started there basically to help install, let's say, the digital foundation, but also here in the next step, the ability to also do digital, let's say, data-driven feedback mechanisms and all of the process steps, which basically will help us turn down the cost of quality significantly. So blades is not the only area to your question, and we are looking into expanding the thread. Have already done some for some of the other modules of the turbine. So naturally the PLM system, the backbone, is one for Vestas and also utilized for the other segments. But building this more, let's say, fully digital connected from modeling to manufacturing is something we're looking into these days for the next modules of the turbine, and something we will need to do module by module, because the modeling tools, the design tools vary simply due to that designing a blade is some very different engineering exercise than designing a tower or control systems or the like, right? So something that we're looking to do module by module, basically, of the turbine over the next years.
Thank you.
But a super question, and of course the response in terms of how far we go on the journey also need to be evaluated in contrast of basically what kind of engineering challenge we are standing in front of, and how good we are in actually engineering for quality, cost, etc.
Hello, Simon. I could imagine that when you have to, I would say, improve the digital thread, you have to fill the content with more, I would say, specific data. Would you have an impression that the engineering hours is increasing to have a good quality of the source data to be used downstreams?
In some cases, yes. Especially the better we get at doing modular development, so that the one part introduced is applied across multiple variants. Of course, some of those extra investment in hours of information and structuring those data is paying off. So that's where the beauty of combining the approach of modularization with digital drives profitability. Of course, if we look at it from a more traditional kind of engineer to order approach, it would be difficult to outweigh the additional investment in hours of orchestrating some of these data. So yes, there is an investment in both, of course, in infrastructure, but also, to your point, in the data and generating the data that need to be done to utilize downstreams.
Okay,
it's
thank you,
a difficult
Simon.
game, of course, always to surface. I think across an enterprise our size, the real time invested in activities sometimes is below the surface, right? So making it a kind of a measurable exercise is difficult, but there is in the end, as you could see from the blade case, a positive results which far outweigh the cost of implementing. That's been our story, at least so far.
Thank you so much. Applause for Simon. Thank you.